I've always been a church girl and I've loved being in the church, right? And some of my role models were people in the church, women in the church, the fathers in the church. I've always enjoyed my time there. And there was one specific thing that most mothers in my church have, right? And I used to want this so much for myself. Every time I would hear it, I would be like, God, but why don't I have this? I feel like I don't have, that reverential fear for you because I don't have the specific thing. What was it? There is a tone, guys, that, a woman of God will have where you feel like, when this person speaks about Jesus, you can just feel that they're speaking from a place of experience. They're speaking about somebody that they have had contact with. There is some, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just mellow. It's just calm. It's serene. It makes you pay attention, right? And, I always thought, but I have the same tone for church, for the streets, for school, for work. I don't have this nice, calm, humble tone that the mothers in my church had. And I was so envious about that. I would feel like, when I speak about Jesus, nobody listens because I don't have that serene tone that they have, right? And I realized that actually, you know what? Whether you speak with a serene tone, whether you are loud, whatever you are, God created you and you are of importance to his kingdom, right? Because I realized that, my tone can actually touch even people who are not in church, right? So I started making, reconciling rather with my tone when I started realizing that I actually can connect with people even outside of church while still talking about Jesus, right? So I've realized that, jealousy and envy will always be a part of our lives unless we get to know ourselves and our purpose. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you today about. I am Pulaa Montz, your inner voice magnified. Before I realized that there is a gift in having just this tone that I have, this tiny little voice that has always gotten me into trouble, or people will just know that it is me. Even people who've never seen me, when they hear me speak in a room, they're like, are you not playing? Because of this tiny voice. Wow, it makes me unique. So people can identify me from everywhere, right? But it used to bother me a lot, especially when it came to church, where I just wanted to sound like a woman who loves God, to sound like a humble woman. In my mind, there was a certain way that a humble woman of God spoke about Jesus, and I just didn't have that. And you know what, in my prayer life, that was one of the most important things that I would talk to Jesus about. Listen to Mama Mang, listen to Mrs. Mama when she speaks about you, Lord. That's exactly the tone that I want, because it brings everybody's attention to them. You listen when she starts speaking about you because of her tone. It is so mellow and serene. But God was just not giving me that tone. And I've always been in church. And I wondered why. I remember moving from Alberton into Centurion, from Centurion to Hartis. And when I got into Hartis, I started attending church now in Atteridgeville. And I met a mother there who was just like me. Mama Shiani just has a voice, whether it's in the streets, whether it's in church, whether it's in wherever, any formal event. Her voice is her voice. But I started seeing how this woman loves God. I started hearing the passion in her for Jesus Christ. And I started realizing that, oh my gosh, so there's nothing wrong with me. Actually, people can still hear the passion for Christ, no matter what my voice sounds like. I mean, she set me free. I think she knows this by now. I've always told her. She set me free because when I started seeing her and realizing the fact that I could hear her when she was talking about Jesus, and I know how she loves God, then I realized that actually there was nothing wrong with my own voice. And the more I started learning what my purpose is, the more I realized that actually my voice is even perfect for the outside world. You know, that mellow tone voice, maybe it might work for a community in the church because we all are yearning for Christ. But when you start speaking to people who are out there who couldn't care less who Christ is, and you're trying to introduce this Christ to them, then maybe somebody like me would make a better impact, right? Then when I realized that actually everything that I am is perfect for my purpose, then I started making peace with the voice that I have. I started enjoying my own voice, while at the same time, when I'm in the zone and I'm listening to a mother who's got that tone that I used to love, I'll still enjoy her also, even without now that envy of wanting to be like them. I realize that actually jealousy and envy will always be our portion until we learn who we are and what our purpose is, right? You know, once you start understanding what your purpose is, then you'll have no business being jealous of somebody else's hustle. Okay, so until you understand yourself, until you understand why God put you on this earth, until you understand that your uniqueness is important for the kind of thing that God is trying to do on this earth, you will continue being jealous. So jealousy and envy will always be a part of your life for as long as you don't know who you are. That's why I am so passionate about you finding out your purpose, about you finding out why God put you on this earth, why God gave you the voice that he gave you, why God gave you the kitty cat hair that you have. I'm sorry. Why God gave you the nose that he gave you. Why God gave you the body that he gave you. Until you understand the reasons for you being the kind of person that you are, the shape that you are, the face that you have, the hands that you have, everything about you, you will continue seeing fault in you and wanting somebody else's thing that looks to you perfect, right? So it is important to get to know yourself. It is important, especially to know your purpose, because I tell you, purpose makes sense of every single detail about your life, about your physique, about your characteristics, about your experiences. Purpose will make sense of all of it. Once you get to know it, you will start understanding that yes, it was a painful journey for you. Yes, no child was supposed to go through that. No woman is supposed to experience what you experienced, but you will understand the importance of why you had to be the man to go through the things that you went through, because now you see your purpose. I always say for most of us, our purpose is linked directly to our most gruesome seasons in our lives, gruesome experiences, to our most gruesome experiences, those experiences that you would rather hide somewhere deep down in your soul for nobody to ever find out. Therein, right in the middle of that thing that you have blocked in your mind, lies the purpose that God wanted to fulfill through you on this earth. You know, we want to hide ourselves. We get jealous of people who have given their all, who have laid themselves bare in front of God, and now God is using them for his kingdom's sake. We get jealous, but we don't realize that when we reject our past, when we do not want to reconcile with the things that we have gone through, when we don't want these things to come to the surface so that God can start dealing with them, we are denying ourselves of our true selves, the selves that we can actually enjoy and no longer be envious of other people's light, right? You've got your own light, and God wants to use you for something. You've got it in you, either through your experiences or through whatever it is, something like a voice that God gave you, until you start getting into your room and you start finding out from God what your purpose is. Jealousy and envy will remain your envy. So I'm gonna say to you, find out who you are and what your purpose is, and you will get rid of your jealousy and envy. I am Pulaa Montz, your inner peace and purpose coach.